Welcome to Capital Outsider, a show about people and ideas outside the halls of power, exploring alternatives to conventional political wisdom.
One of the important parts of your book, at least to what I think to our viewers are interested in, I think, at least in reforming government and in particular probably making it smaller. And you do offer some really good insight into what types of reforms are possible, and also ways to make those reforms happen, ways to influence government. You talk about categories of reform. This sounds like the Mao's Red Book here. 6 categories of reform and 6 aspects of citizen action. Can you talk about those a little bit? I mean, I spelled them out here in case you haven't memorized your whole book.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
I've given you some bullet points to work from here.
Well, let's start with the most important thing that people should know, which is that contrary to everything you hear, you can influence your government. But you probably can't do it alone. It's very hard for any individual to walk down to the state capitol, knock on the door, and say, Governor Spitzer, I want you to pass a law that says ABC, or Senator Bruno and Speaker Silver, I want you to pass this law. That's not going to happen. However, what does happen all the time is that people get together and create organizations that do very much have an influence. And in some cases, that influence stems from money. In some cases, it stems from activism. In some cases, it simply stems from ideas, believe it or not. And certainly money talks often more loudly than ideas do. But let's just think about a couple of examples of how people in New York have managed to change things in recent years. One example is the Working Families Party, which I know you are aware of, and it's an initiative that was undertaken less than 10 years ago by the Communications Workers Union and some other unions and activist organizations. And they created a new political party which has had a dramatic impact on politics and public policy in New York. It has pushed the Democratic Party to the left. It has pushed the Republican Party to the left in many instances. It has had an impact on tax policy. It's had an impact on the minimum wage. It's had an impact on electing people like David Soares, the Albany County District Attorney, as well as individual elected officials in other areas of the state. And so this was an instance where, again, in this case, some unions came together and created a new organization, a political party. But that's not the only way that people do things. There's one thing that I imagine every viewer of this program is interested in is property taxes. And there is an increasing level of activism by property tax groups around the state, particularly in the Hudson Valley and on Long Island, where increases in property values have just driven property tax bills through the roof. And here in the capital region, we think our property taxes are pretty high, and in fact they are, but they're not like they are down in those areas. So in those areas, we have seen just regular people come together and create these groups that have not had an impact to the point of changing state law yet, but they have had an impact in terms of getting laws introduced, getting the governor and the legislature to think about things very differently. And I would guess within the next 5 to 10 years, these organizations may actually start to have an impact on what is done here in Albany.